So this is my 2002 Honda Accord. Seems to be a common problem with these that the trunk leaks, among other places. So anyway, I didn't find any very good videos about what to look for in terms of leaks, so I wanted to do my own. So on mine, it's been in an accident, so some leaks are to be expected. Things were tweaked. Let's see, pop it open. So the first thing is the trunk lid gasket here. On mine, you can see I used a paint pen and made marks to see where it was contacting the trunk lid itself. Found some spots where it wasn't really contacting. And of course, I did a leak test too, where I had a hose, a bucket of water, pouring down the glass over the edges of the trunk lid to see where it would land in the trunk. And if you're trying to suss out water leaks in your trunk, really the best thing to do, you're just going to want to take all this interior stuff out like I have. It's pretty easy. I mean, it takes like 10 minutes, if that. Pretty simple tools. It just makes it so much easier to see where the water's puddling, because it loves to puddle down here in this little recession. You're not going to see that if you have the trim in there. It loves to puddle down there. Again, if you have all the stuff in there, you're not going to see that. Okay, so trunk lid gasket, that's one area. Next thing, you're going to want to make sure your tail lights are sealing. There's actually a foam gasket behind the tail light. It's possible for water to seep in behind the tail light. All these places here, you can see on mine where this clear silicone is, that body seam, water was leaking through there. Whether you want to use seam sealer or silicone, it's up to you. I mean, I put some new seam sealer in here, but the silicone seems to work just fine. And let's see. So you've got a release cable for the gas cap right there. And if we come around over here, it was leaking from there into the trunk as well. Water was running down here, going into the trunk. So another thing to look for. Another one is, you can see this little plastic nub here is where the bumper cover clips in. Water was wicking around that and leaking into my trunk. It seemed to only be an issue with this one, but just go ahead and wipe some silicone or seam sealer or whatever around all of them. And again, you can see there's like rubber plugs here and there in the body. Those can leak too. Obviously mine was. And then the last place is right up here. I was having water leak through. And so I chased it around and I ended up removing the trim in order to figure out where the water was coming from, because my deck lid was getting wet. So I knew it was coming in up here somewhere. So I was pouring water, using a hose all over the rear glass, and basically I determined that the corner in there, okay, the urethane glue underneath the rear glass was not sealing completely. So water was actually like seeping in through there and then wicking up my trunk lid trim here and getting that wet. So again, I put some silicone in there, just spread it out and pushed it in to try to get a nice, watertight bead. I'm going to test this, once that's cured, but I'm pretty confident that will solve that. Now the other thing is, you want to make sure all of these door gaskets are in good shape, okay? Because I had water running down here, and a tiny bit of it was getting past and running down here on the backside of the plastic trim piece that goes there. And it was as simple as a little bit of something was kind of stuck between the door and that gasket. But again, it could be another source leak. Okay, the last thing you want to look for